Hi, welcome to the Mirelli Marketing Masterclass. This is Trina Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Mirelli Entrepreneur Training for Women, a nonprofit organization which brings women together to learn, connect, grow, and prosper. The Mirelli Marketing Masterclass is a reoccurring training where we talk about a marketing issue and then we open up the phones for some Q&A. So let's get started in tonight's presentation. So tonight, I'm going to introduce you to a marketing concept that, when implemented correctly, will make it instantly obvious to your prospects that they don't want to do business with anyone other than you at any time, anywhere, or at any price. So I'm going to start with a real live case study of a chiropractor. Now, he had previously spent $10,000 plus on radio advertising. He ran the ads for several weeks. His phone rang 15 times. The ad resulted in one single new patient at $1,900. So how would you feel after investing $10,000 and winding up with a net loss of $8,100 that you will never get back, not to mention all the time, effort, and energy you wasted? But what if you could take just $1,300 of that marketing budget, change what the radio ad said, and instead of getting just 15 calls resulting in one sale, you generated 137 calls, closed 37 of those calls into brand new paying patients, an average of $2,500, and you would generate another $92,500 in total revenue. Now that's what's called getting more results, making more money for the same time, the same money, and the same effort that you're already spending. So what if I could show you how to do this for your company? That's right. Let me show you how to leverage what you're already doing and how you too can get those exact same results for your business, or maybe even better, just by changing the way you do all of your marketing and advertising. I'm not talking radical changes, just simple common sense changes that enable you to exponentially leverage your marketing results. I'm about to share with you exactly how you can accomplish these same results with your marketing and in the process dominate your industry. The marketing equation I'm going to teach you tonight is based on unchanging principles of human nature that dictate that people always want to make the best buying decision possible. Marketing's job, or your job, is not to yak incessantly about how great you are or how low your prices are. Your job is to position your prospective buyers so they have total control over the decision-making process based on them having enough quantity and quality of information to determine that they're receiving the most value for the price they pay. There are two main components to any marketing plan: strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Strategic marketing is the content of your message. It's what you say and how you say it. Tactical marketing has to do with the execution of the strategic marketing. That's the placing the ads, building the website, attending the trade shows. The key to effective marketing is to master the strategic side, not the tactical. It's what you say in your marketing and how you say it that are almost always more important than the marketing medium where you say it. Now, both are important, but the real leverage is in the messaging itself, and that's the strategic side of marketing. The marketing equation will let you finally quit competing on price and start selling your product or service for what you're really worth. You'll drive in more leads, and you'll often see an increase in your advertising response by 2 to maybe sometimes even as much as 100 times. You'll also convert a higher percentage of those leads and make your salesperson into superstars. And you'll increase the amount of your average sale, and your list of clients that pay, stay, and refer will increase significantly. You're going to get a bigger bang for your marketing buck, and you finally will have total control over your marketing and lead generation results. So, what is the actual purpose of marketing? Marketing is supposed to help facilitate your prospects' decision-making process. Prospects need to buy what you sell, but sometimes they need to be educated to the fact that they need to buy what you sell in the first place. Other times they already know they want it, they just need help deciding who they're going to buy it from. Often they think they might want what you sell, but they have questions and concerns that need to be overcome. Prospects are not experts in what you do. They don't really know the relevant issues surrounding the purchase. They don't know how to make the best decision. They can't tell the difference between the best deal and a major mistake. This leaves an opportunity for you to provide them with this information and guide them through the buying process. All prospects and customers want the same thing. They want to feel confident that their money has been well spent, that their decision has been made to the best of their ability. They want to get the best deal. And people instinctively want to make the best decision possible and not second guess their buying decisions. Now you as the marketer have to figure out what's important to your prospects, educate them as to what constitutes the best deal when it comes to buying what you sell. Give them value. And then show them quantifiable proof that you actually provide the best deal in terms of price and value. All of this has to be communicated to them in a way they'll pay attention to, believe in, and take action on. Now, most businesses mistakenly fill their marketing with self-serving jargon. That's only a thinly veiled way to say, buy it from me because I want you to give me money instead of my competitor. That's why people are jaded and resist the marketing, because the prospective buyers want and need to be educated so they feel confident when making their decision, and no one is providing that additional education. The first one who does is going to provide, the first one who provides prospects with this information wins the most profitable customers available. When marketing is done improperly, the end result is 100% predictable. You start to feel intense pricing pressure from your prospects, and typically you're forced to cave in, lower your prices, and just make way less money than you could. But what you want to do is spend more time with your family and not at work, right? So if you're always competing on price, it's your marketing's fault. Your marketing has led to a situation where there's no discernible difference between you and your competition. There have been no additional parameters or relevant issues introduced to educate your products as to what really constitutes the best value when it comes to buying what you sell. You are not introducing why you are different in the marketplace. So your marketing's got to do the heavy lifting for you. You've got to deliver eager, qualified prospects into your sales funnel. Now, competition today is more fierce than it's ever been, right? So how many competitors do you currently have right now? Have you gone online and did a search? All of those results that come up in Google, that's your competition. And that's how many choices your prospects have. And that's how many additional businesses they have to sift through and filter through as they attempt to reach a buying decision. And almost every buyer looks for information. They go online, they do searches. And if you're not showing up in the search results, then when you do get in front of them, you have an even harder task. You have got to give them more information that your competitors are not. So if you want to know why Jane Doe buys what Jane Doe buys, you've got to see the world through Jane Doe's eyes. So most businesses know what Jane Doe wants from them, right? But because you're not a communications expert and you don't have the ability to communicate your unique differentiation, yeah, I say that word a lot, with the outside world, you don't lead your prospects to say, I would be a fool to do business with anyone other than this company at any time, anywhere, or any price. So I'm going to challenge you. After this webinar, go and look at your ads and your website. Is it instantly obvious, specifically and quantifiably, what makes you better and unique and different? Do you show your prospects how to judge your industry? Do you tell them what factors they need to consider when deciding what to buy? Do you provide greater value than any of your competitors? Everything you currently know about marketing does not effectively allow you to accurately and succinctly portray your uniqueness. This is a product of decades of being conditioned to do marketing the wrong way. In the very early days of advertising, much of advertising back then was comparative in nature. Ads would say, we're better, and here's exactly why, based on this and that. They generally did a good job of building a case and helping prospective buyers understand the important issues in regard to their particular product or service. Then the most significant event in the history of marketing and advertising occurred in 1945. Television was commercially introduced for the first time. Back then, there were only 3 channels, and so demand quickly outstripped the supply of commercials and prices shot through the roof. In response to the rising costs, the length of commercials shrank down from 2 minutes to 30 seconds. Now, advertisers had less time to educate us on the important and relevant issues and to build a case as to why they were different or better or unique. So instead of attempting to use shorter ads that highlighted their comparative benefits, advertisers changed their tactics and started using slogans. Companies and their ad agencies found that this was a lot harder to do in only 30 seconds, but they also found out they didn't really need to because, A, the number of real competitors, that is, the ones that could really afford to advertise on TV and run ads against their ads, was very few. They could spend tons of money running 30-second ads and win by default because they were the only ones getting in front of the consumer. So the focus for all marketing and advertising shifted to simply getting the prospect's attention. That's when advertising lost its penchant for selling and instead shifted its focus to creativity. The idea now is to get into the consumer's brain with something creative, jingles, slogans that would stimulate them and cause them to recall the product later on. That's when slogans became the de facto marketing standard, and that's still in use today. But this new creative approach took over advertising as we know it, and it began to filter into all advertising. Radio, AdWords, newspaper, magazine, billboards, websites, they all started really dealing with slogans. And once this was in place, the big companies opened up their checkbooks, spent a lot of money, and gave people no other option but to remember their message. Remember, I know a lot of you have heard the statistic that you need to see the advertising at least 7 times before you remember it. That was a study done in the 1970s by Johnson & Johnson. They recently redid that same study, and now an ad needs to be seen 12,000 times before it really registers. Think about that. An ad needs to be seen 12,000 times. That's why you see ads over and over and over and over, because we have become so accustomed to just these little sound bites. So ad agencies started running this formula for all other clients, including little ones without deep pockets. So business schools started teaching that this is the way you did marketing. So brand builder marketing and advertising has become the standard for how you do it. No one has questioned the formula until now. So all of us alive today grew up in an era where almost all the advertising you've seen or heard is a product of the era of brand builders. Over time, we've become conditioned as to what constitutes good advertising. But as a result of this new breed of advertising, jargon is now in so much marketing and advertising. Think of jargon as words or phrases that are drearily commonplace and predictable, that lack power to evoke interest through overuse or repetition, but are nonetheless stated as of their original or significance. Since businesses only have 30 seconds to try and convey them as special, they put everything into jargon like largest selection, most professional, the best service, the most convenient, we're the largest in the state, we're the experts, we specialize, we work harder, we get the job done right the first time, we've been in business for 4,000 years. But when you look at jargon, does it really speak to what the consumer is interested in? What consumer really cares that you have the largest selection when really they only want to buy one product for you? I mean, think about it. But here's a simple way you can easily and quickly evaluate your own marketing to avoid the jargon trap. When you make a claim, ask yourself what the prospect's immediate response might be. Well, I would hope so. Think about it. If you run a TV ad for a remodeling company and you said your work was of highest quality, fairly priced, guaranteed 100% satisfaction, would the consumer go, well, I would hope so? Would you hire any remodeling company who didn't provide that as a standard part of their service? Is anyone going to hire the remodeling company that says, of mediocre quality or, ridiculously overpriced or, no guarantee at all? No, they are going to look for those kinds of things. So here's an example of like a consulting company. Their ad says, our training leads to change. We increase productivity, performance, and profit of your company. Well, I would hope so. I mean, that's why they're being hired. They're hired to lead to change, and they're hired to increase productivity. If that's all your ads say, then you're not really conveying much benefit to the consumer. So the problem is, if your company has unique differentiation, but you're using the same jargon as everyone else, then the outside world thinks you're all the same. And that's when prospects default to the company offering the lowest price. Price becomes the determining factor. So ask yourself openly and honestly why. Why would anyone choose you over the competition? And then evaluate your answer against, well, I would hope so. Right? So do you see there would be a tremendous competitive advantage if you could figure out how to fix this for your own business? So let me show you a very simple process we call the marketing equation. It will help you eliminate jargon. You'll become a communications powerhouse, and you will finally get the results from your marketing that you should be getting. So the marketing equation has 4 main components. First is interrupt, getting the qualified prospect to pay attention to your marketing. It's often accomplished by affecting the prospect emotionally. Then you want to engage. The engage promises information is forthcoming that will help the prospect make the best decision possible. Then educate. Give them information that allows them to logically understand how and why you solved that emotional problem, and accomplished by giving them detailed, quantifiable, specific information. And then make them an offer, a low or no risk offer that tells them how to take the next step in the sales process. Now, to understand how the marketing equation works, you need to understand 3 things about Jane Doe's brain: downtime, uptime, and the reticular activation system. Now, downtime. This is the hypnotic state of running automatic patterns that allow your brain to perform habitual tasks without any conscious thought. In marketing terms, people see ads, but they don't really pay attention. So then uptime. Uptime is the brain state of alertness or active engagement. Think of uptime as your brain going on alert mode. In marketing term, the prospect consciously notices your ad or your marketing piece, and then they become open to your suggestions or solutions. Now, the key to marketing is to get your prospect from downtime into uptime. So the next is the reticular activator, or the reticular activation system. This is the part of the brain that's on lookout 24/7, even when you're asleep. It is constantly scanning the environment, looking for things that fall into any of these 3 categories. Things that are familiar, things that are unusual, or things that are problematic. All of these are activators. So what does that have to do with marketing? Well, short answer is everything. Understanding what wakes people up so that they pay attention to what is going on in your marketing message to get past the interrupt stage and onto the engage stage, that's what marketing does. When we engage our prospect, we have just increased our chances of selling to those people by 1,000%. This is where slogan-based marketing drops the ball. You want your marketing to not just interrupt, but to get them engaged, and not just find any old activator, but find the right activators. Anyone can interrupt people. Madison Avenue uses activators based on things that are familiar and unusual because they're the easiest to pull off. That's the gecko, or some of those funny ads. Activators based on unusual things is what they consider creative. But creativity's main purpose in advertising is to dream up something weird, strange, shocking, so unusual that it snaps you out of downtime and into uptime, known as the interrupt. But here's the key. Once the brain is activated, once it's been broken out of downtime and into uptime, it wants to be engaged. It immediately and subconsciously starts searching for additional and clarifying information. That reticular activation happens. So it searches for additional facts. If it finds them, it becomes engaged. If not, it'll quickly just revert right back down into downtime. So we call these reticular activation strategies, these important relevant issues, hot buttons. So is there anything relevant to me here? Is this a hot button issue for me at this point in my life? An activator is something that snaps a person from downtime to uptime, and it's based on something familiar, unusual, problematic. But the activator becomes a hot button when it's based on something that's important and relevant to your prospect. So to implement the marketing equation, your goal is to successfully interrupt and engage your target market by identifying problems, frustrations, uncertainties, annoyances that your prospects have, and actually address them in your marketing. Their pain in most cases is their hot button. tapping into the problems your prospects already have. Poke their problems and point out that these problems are there so that their reticular activator notices and brings us as a solution onto their active radar screen. This is one of the most important things that almost no one understands, and one of the main reasons your current marketing is not working. You've been conditioned to believe that as long as you interrupt the prospect, that's good enough. But if you only interrupt, that's only 1/4 of the marketing equation. You've got to complete all 4 components. You've got to interrupt, engage, educate, and offer to get the maximum results of your marketing and advertising. So when writing your marketing material, portray the hot buttons in the headline. The headline is the first opportunity you have to interrupt. Make sure that headline has activators in it. And those activators should be based on things that are important and relevant to your prospect. Hot buttons, words and phrases that describe problems or frustrations that your prospect is feeling. Get inside their head what is important to them so that the reticular activator latches onto them and snaps them into uptime. So here is a real case study. A daycare provider. They were trying to figure out how to get parents to choose them instead of 17 other local daycares. So their current ads were about high quality, attention to detail. We supervise our staff better. We're honest. We've taken care of more than 200 kids. Well, I would hope so, right? All of that is pretty blah stuff. It's mostly jargon. But when you look at the other 17 daycares, they all say that they're safe, nurturing, creative environments. They optimize your child's development. They're claimed by thousands of parents. They're accredited by industry professionals, a leader in early childhood care and education. But those headlines all speak to the interest of the daycare, not to the prospect, right? But what if the daycare's advertising said something like, ever felt like your daycare treated your child like a number instead of a little person, and has this kind of compelling photo of the child in the corner? Or is your daycare's idea of good educational curriculum watching Barney on TV? How would you like to get your child reading at a first grade level before starting kindergarten? What if that was the kind of marketing that you were seeing? Or what about 10 things your daycare might not tell you? You've looked long and hard to find good child care, and now you feel you can finally relax, but don't. Ooh, will that play on some hot buttons for parents? Yeah, I bet it would. All right, here's another case study. This is a child psychologist. He works with kids with behavioral problems. His marketing was saying things like, we offer parenting advice and resources. We can help get your child under control. Learn the secrets of well-behaved children. Now, as a parent of an out-of-control child, why in the world would I want to know the secrets of well-behaved children? I don't have one. I need help. So what is the hot button for these parents? What if their advertising said something like, are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, and belligerent attitude of your child? Now you can discover the secrets of controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. Boom. He ran this ad both as ads on Facebook and on Google, sent them to this right here, which is a landing page. He didn't change his website at all. He just got people to enter their names and their email address. And that child psychologist, he more than doubled his business in 5 months. Here's another case study. Moving company ads and websites have had they're good for moving. They put their company name, their local and long distance. But by changing their marketing to follow the marketing equation with a new ad and website, they pulled in an astonishing 12 times more than their original ad. And they went from averaging 70 calls per month to, get this, 955 calls. And their conversion rate skyrocketed from 60% to 68%. Now, this moving company, just by changing what their ads said, went from generating 11 sales per month to a whopping 649 sales per month. And their new ad generated so much new business, they had to partner with 4 of their competitors to handle all the new demand for their services. Those same 4 competitors bought out that moving company 9 months later for $2 million, all due to following the marketing equation in their marketing. This was the new ad. Last year, over 4,350 complaints and lawsuits were filed against moving companies in Dallas. Ask these 15 questions to make sure your moving company's policies, procedures, and standards will protect you from an unpleasant moving experience. And then they listed the 15 questions to ask, and then they could request a free moving company comparison checklist where they gave them all of the answers to those 15 questions for all of the other local moving companies. They did their research. Can you imagine the results? I mean, they went from 170 moves a month to almost 700 moves a month just by changing their ad, just by hitting a hot button. So to successfully engage, all you have to do is use a headline or subhead that promises the reader that if they keep reading or listening to the ad, that they will get the information that will facilitate them making the best decision possible. Sometimes the headline engages, but more frequently it's a subhead that makes the promise to educate and therefore engages. Remember this ad? Ever felt like your daycare's or your daycare's idea of a good educational curriculum watching Barney on TV? Are you sick and tired? The 4,300 complaints, those are hot buttons. So then you want to educate and offer. Every marketing piece should contain a risk-lowering offer to encourage the prospect to take the next step. And that offer should generally be to receive additional information. Further educate the prospect and build your case. That's called informational marketing. It used to be the standard, and now we have gotten away from it. We need to bring it back. If you want to compete in today's environment, come back to informational marketing. So the real key in marketing today is the right offer allows you to capture a large percentage of all future buyers in addition to those looking to buy right now. Now, most marketing today only caters to right now buyers and does little to educate those who are just thinking about it or just in that information gathering mode. At any given moment, the number of prospects who are ready to buy right now represent no more than 1 to 5% of all of those who are ultimately going to buy from you. 95 to 99% of prospects are in the thinking about it or gathering information mode. So what are you doing to capture those people? You need to get in front of them and start educating them as much as possible. That's what we call lead generation. Now, the fourth component is your offer. The offer gives you the opportunity to provide additional educational information to the information gathering mode prospects. And it captures valuable information about who these people are, right? Get their name, their email, let them raise their hand and say, I'm interested in this, so that you can proactively market to them on an ongoing. So, interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. That's the marketing equation that you should be using. That equation is literally the backbone of some of the most incredibly successful marketing campaigns in history. So here's a question for you. Are you ready to be the next successful case study? Throughout this presentation, I've been talking about case studies. I am associated with a coaching community where we document and share case studies of what is working today so that our clients are using the best marketing available. I'm looking for case studies. So I am looking for companies who are willing to let me review and document your current marketing efforts, then let me help you implement changes using the marketing equation, and then document and share your improved results with my national coaching community. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please reach out to me after this presentation and let's set up a time to talk. So, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and have learned some new information to benefit your business. Thank you for investing your time. Okay, now it's time for Q&A. Let me open the phones. Hold on.